Hello, my name is Juan Vitas, and I'm the founder and host of Winning on Wednesday. WOW is a virtual platform that brings together between 50 to 80 people weekly to share ideas and discuss their business and get to know each other. We encourage the building of relationships and before doing business. As I often say, people do business who they know, like, and trust. And speaking of knowing, like, and trust, I would like to introduce my friend today. Terrence, how are you today?
I'm fine. Thanks, Juan. How are you doing today?
Very good. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, you give us a quick introduction of who Terrence Clark is, and I know we're going to go through the whole interview, but we'd like to know who you are.
Sure. And good morning, everyone. I'm Terrence Clark. I'm the president and CEO of the New York and New Jersey Minority Supplier Development Council. We call it the Council for short because that's a long title. And the Council is one of the 23 councils that make up the National Minority Supplier Development Council. The goal of our council is severalfold. Number one, it's to certify minority-owned businesses. And what we're certifying is that these businesses are owned, operated, managed, and controlled by an ethnic minority persons. It's very important because we do not want to certify fronts. The second thing is to connect these certified business owners with opportunities in the public and the private sector. Our particular organization covers the state of New York, northern and central New Jersey. We have 1,400 certified business owners that are as small as startups and as large. Our largest business owner has sales of about $11 billion. So I'll let you know also that minority businesses come in a variety of sizes. These are all businesses that do business with other businesses. So you don't have retail operations, no grocery stores and restaurants, etc. These are businesses that sell their products and services to other business owners. And so our goal is to make sure that these businesses are in a position to take advantage of market opportunities, whether those opportunities are from our corporate members, and our corporate members are large corporations generally that are looking to diversify their supply chain and put more minority-owned businesses within their supply chain. So that's one part of it. We also have connections with the public sector, be the city of New York, the state of New York, state of New Jersey. Once again, to look at opportunities for these business owners to grow and develop.
We'll definitely go more into details behind that, but take us back where it all started. And tell us about where did you grow up? Tell us about your parents, and tell us about your history, a little bit about who Terrence Clark is. People want to know who Terrence is.
Sure.
But tell us about your parents.
Okay. Well, my mother and father came up north from the southern part of this country as part of the Great Migration of Black people in the 40s and the 50s, and both of them worked in the public sector. My mother worked as a school lunch helper. She was basically the person who gave you your lunch when you went to public school. She made the food and she served it. So, that's what her job was. And she did that for, I want to say, probably about 35 years. I remember when she first got the job when I was a little kid, maybe 2 or 3 years old. My father worked for the Postal Service, and he worked for the Postal Service for 42 years. Oh, wow. And actually, it was a large post office, which is behind Penn Station in Madison Square Garden. It's the General Post Office. He had a variety of jobs there, and he worked there, as I mentioned, for 42 years. So they were both in the public sector. I have one brother, deceased, who also had a variety of jobs, but a lot of them were in computer-related things. Back before IT became really popular, he was doing a lot of work for various companies in the information and technology space.
Wow.
We all grew up in Brooklyn, in the East New York section of Brooklyn. I was born in the projects, to put it bluntly, the Boulevard houses on Skank and Linden Boulevard in Brooklyn. And I lived there probably for about 20 years or so. So it kind of molded who I was, because lived in a building that had 97 other families and maybe 15 buildings around it. So it was like a small community, but you certainly had to be out and about so that you could get around, get to know people. People got to know you, and you develop friendships through that process. So, it was something that I considered very helpful to where I am today, because it allowed me to be able to socialize with people.
Well, you had a network, as you said.
Yes, exactly. Even network is extraordinarily important to have a network.
Yeah, even at an early age, you had a network. So that's really important. So tell us when you were 7, did you what you wanted to do? Do you have any? Did you play any sports, or did you have any role models when you were 7 or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, when I was 7, I was really into sports. I was into basketball, baseball, and football. I was probably better at football than the other two. But interestingly enough, the person that I kind of looked up to was a baseball player. It was Willie Mays, who used to play for the San Francisco Giants and play for the Mets. And I just thought, his basket catch and the way he kind of carried himself and such, I just thought that was really interesting. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm also, a long-suffering Knick fan. Unfortunately.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I go back with, with 91, 92, so
Yeah.
yeah, when we had a shot, when we had a shot.
Yeah, and I go further back to when they last won a championship, which was in 1973,
Wow.
with Walt Frazier and Earl Monroe and
Yeah.
Willis Reed and DeBusschere and Bradley. So I've always liked sports, and I think that's helped me because you meet a lot of people playing sports. You really do,
Mhm.
and you learn a lot about teamwork and leadership.
Yes,
I think is
absolutely.
always very, very important.
And it goes back to the theme, networking, because
Exactly.
you're forced to network with a team and work with
Yes.
together, and again, it goes back to networking, and it's
Exactly.
always that comes back to the same theme, that we always force
It's
it to.
amazing. You're exactly right. It always goes back to that.
Yeah,
Especially,
yeah.
if you're playing, football, basketball, or baseball, you have to deal with other people. You got to learn how to
Mhm.
work with them. And that helped me as I move forward in life and in my career.
And what did you wanted to do with? I mean, where did you go to school, and what was your major?
I went to other than the public school system, because I went to PS 273 in Brooklyn, junior high school 166, and I'm a graduate of Erasmus Hall High School in Brooklyn,
Oh,
which
wow.
probably some people have heard of. And then I went to Hunter College,
Yep.
and when I
I
was
went to
at Hunter, yeah, you went to
I went to
Hunter
Hunter. I went to
College?
Hunter's. Yeah, I went to Hunter's college
Yeah,
too. Wow.
and it was there where I got this interest in economics and business. My degree is
Mm.
in economics, and I was part of what was called a co-op program where you work one semester and went to school the other semester. And Mrs. Mildred Stewart, who I'll never forget, was the person who put me on this path to where I am today. Mrs. Stewart put me in the co-op program, and I worked for the United States Small Business Administration. It was the first time I worked in an office, because prior to that, I had been a foot messenger. I don't even know if they have foot messengers anymore, but I had been a foot messenger in Manhattan, which helped because I learned how to get around in Manhattan and walk the streets and go into different buildings and the like. But the work I did at SBA taught me about what businesses go through. And there were a lot of SBA lenders, borrowers at that time. And my goal, one of the things that I did was work with those borrowers to help them repay the money that they had borrowed from the government and to get new money to be able to grow and develop their business, which kind of led me to where I am today.
Now, does that co-op program still exist?
I believe it still does. I believe
Okay.
it does exist. It is a great way to get experience for a young person.
Oh, absolutely. It's like almost like an internship. But like as and again, I remember going to Hunter College, taking the getting off the E, going to the 50th, and then taking the 6th train and
The
all that.
68th Street.
Yes, yeah, 68th Street, 68th and Lexington. I remember that. So,
Yep.
but I did it for 1 year, and then I said, you know what? And then I went to Farming. I did the reverse commute because I just felt it was just the city was good, but sometimes with the city depends on some people's is for some people from others, but it was
Sure.
definitely an experience to say the least. But look, I still go to the city for events today. Till
There you go.
So
There you go.
I haven't
like a magnet.
it is a magnet. It is absolutely. It is a magnet. So you this is interesting because what is interesting is that you get this program, and I always say people do business who they know, like, and trust. The fact that you were in this co-op program at the beginning, they got to know you, they got to like you, and
Right.
it was easily actual fit. And how many years were you on that?
I was in the co-op program for 2 years. I graduated college. And then I worked another 7 years with the Small Business Administration.
Wow, it's truly amazing, and hey, that's the best way to get a job. Really,
Exactly.
it's the best way. And again, networking. It goes, is the common theme of networking. So tell us about the last job that you had before going into the council that you have right now. So what was the previous position you had before going into the council that you had now?
Sure. Before I joined the council, I worked for the National Urban League, which is a historic civil rights organization, which has been in existence since 1910. And the Urban League basically was set up to provide social service programs and healthcare and education. The president of the Urban League, who was still the president, Mark Morial, wanted to develop a entrepreneurship program. So he hired me to do so. And I developed what was called the Entrepreneurship Center program. And it's to this day, it's in 13 different affiliates of the National Urban League throughout the country. And the goal of the program is to provide people with business and technical assistance so that they're in a position to be able to grow and develop their businesses. And some of those businesses are not, that I've dealt with, are part of the current council network that I'm in, and getting assistance from council affiliates along with the Urban League. So it turned out to be a very good program, and it expanded the services that the Urban League provided into economic development.
And how many affiliates you said they had?
The Urban League, the National Urban League has 92 affiliates, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And the council where I am has 23, of which we are one.
Wow.
Of those 23.
So now tell us about the council. Tell us, when did you start, and tell us about the council.
Well, I started the council in 2015, and right now we have 1,400 businesses that we cover the entire, as I mentioned before, the entire state of New York and New Jersey, with a goal of several things. The overall and overarching goal is the growth and development of minority businesses. That's just the major goal, to have more businesses that are involved in the economic activity in this country. So that's part one, but also the certification of businesses, to make sure that we are dealing with businesses that are owned, operated, managed, and controlled by an ethnic minority or minority persons. That's one part. The second part is that connection and helping people meet people that under normal circumstances they would not meet. So that connection helps people meet procurement officials in the public and the private sector. Also helps meet other business owners. And it's very important to meet other business owners, because you never know who needs your services unless you tell them what it is you do.
Wow.
So that whole thing of being able to network, of being able to be in the room when we have events and hearing what's going on and meeting other people is very key. Because a lot of times, excuse me, when you're a business owner, especially if you're a very small one, you feel like you're on an island, because you feel like there's nobody there to help you. There's nobody there to talk to. A lot of people don't have, 4 or 5 people in their management team. So basically, a staff meeting could be talking to yourself.
Yep.
So the ability to get out and meet other people, find out what other people are doing, and determine if there's ways you can work together is extremely important in the growth and development of businesses. And that's what we foster for the businesses that we deal with.
How many members do you have currently?
In our affiliate, there are 1,400 businesses that are certified and 160 corporate members. And these are corporations that want to diversify their supply chain.
Okay. And nationally, there's about what, 23?
Nationally, there are 23 affiliates, about 800 national corporate members, and a bit over 15,000 businesses that are certified through the National Minority Supply Development Council Network.
Wow. And you mentioned to me that some of your members have made substantial income from your organization.
We have, in our portfolio alone, we have about 10 businesses that have sales of over $1 billion.
Wow.
So there are businesses that have
That's
done very, very well.
one with a B, right?
One with a
One with a
B,
B with billion.
one with a
One
B.
billion.
That's right.
Wow.
$1 billion. So we have
Wow.
we have people who have done very well. And
Wow.
and what it is, it's one, it's all about the development of relationships, number one, and having a good sound product and service that there's a market for and that you're able to penetrate that market. And if you're able to do those things, you can do very well in business, but you got to get to that point where your business is of such a nature where you can work on your business and not in it. Because when you're working in it, basically you are working, you're doing the work, you're doing the billing, you're going to find the clients. And so it's going to limit the amount of growth you can have. But if you get to that point where you can hire people and you can get other people to do the work, and you can go out and market your business and market what it is that you do and look for opportunities, that's where you get to that point where all of a sudden, a business that's $200,000 becomes a $20 million business.
Wow. On this segment, I'd like to leave a piece of information. I'd like to call it the golden nugget. It's a piece of information so that you can better a business person, particularly a small business person. Is there any information of tips that you could give to small businesses?
Sure. I think the three things that are most important, I call them the 3 M's. It's management, marketing, and money. Making sure you have a sound management structure, because that's what's going to enable you to be able to run your business through good and bad times, because there's going to be both when you run a business. Everything's not always going to be great. There's going to be times where you got to be able to project how you're going to get through times that may be a little difficult. Number 2, marketing, that you have developed a sound, good marketing plan where you've identified the market that you're going to go after, and you've identified how you're going to go after them, and you're successful in being able to do that. And the third thing, which is as important, maybe in some cases more important, is money. And the biggest thing about money is cash flow. Cash flow is king and queen. You've got to make sure you got a strong cash flow. You got to make sure, especially when you're dealing with large companies, because they don't all pay in 10 days or 15 days. Those days are over. People paying 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So you got to be able to withstand that 30, 60 days it's going to take you to get paid, and be able to continue to grow your business and to be able to pay your bills and expenses. Of course, one of your major and most important expenses is human resources, because if you have employees, they are, in many cases, the face of your business. They're the ones that provide the services and the products that you offer. So you got to make sure that your employees are good and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing you had mentioned to me is that the council is coming up. It's 50 years now to the council.
This is our 50th anniversary. The
Wow.
council began operations in 1973.
Wow.
And we are now in 2023. So this is 50 years that we've been providing these kinds of services throughout our market area. And
tell us about the services, about the council's services.
And the services are educational services, business management services, business development services, and a variety of networking events. We do networking events with our corporate members. We do networking events with the city of New York, the state of New York, the state of New Jersey, with the goal of making sure people get the information that they need to be able to run their business in the best and most proficient and effective manner. And we've been doing that for the last 50 years. We do maybe 50, 60 events a year, either individually or with other partners.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure to go to one of your black tie affairs, and it was wonderful. And I guess I said you guys run a wonderful event. I'm always there. You guys always good. Thank you for being a big guest. But
thank
wow.
you.
And tell us how can people find or be registered to be a member for your organization?
Sure. There's 2 ways. Number one, you can certainly look at our website, which is www.nynjmsdc.org, and that gives you all the information that I talked about in a little more detail as it relates to how you would connect with the council. And the other thing is basically you can contact me, given the fact that we're all here and I'm here to promote and help people. And I'm gonna give you my email address, which is TERRENCE dot. So it's TERRENC.CLARK at nynjmsdc.org.
And for our
Always
viewers,
contact me.
I'll make sure I put the information below the link, so to make it easier. See, another thing I realized in business, to make things easy for people. When you make things
Exactly.
easier for people, it goes smooth
It
sailing.
goes smoothly and people will use it.
Exactly. We're prone to sign up for it or use it. Exactly.
Exactly.
Terrence, thank you for your time, for sharing. Thank you so much. And I really
You're quite
appreciate
welcome, Juan. I
spending your
greatly
time.
appreciate this.
Thank you. No problem. And if you'd like to become a member of Winning on Wednesday, simply just visit our website, winningonwednesday.com, scroll into the first time guest and follow the directions. See you in the next meeting. Thank you so much. That's it.